Hi, welcome everybody to the Performance Webinar Series. My name is Zack Buechner. I'm an athletic trainer and recovery specialist here at Performance. The purpose of today's webinar is to give you the tools to achieve your optimal health. Incredible at doing this on their own through sleep, rest, nutrition, hydration, but we all know these things are sometimes hard to achieve. So we supplement using certain applications in order to assist our bodies in getting it back into a normal state of health. One of those applications is what we're talking about today, infrared sauna. So we know that there's several types of sauna out there. The big ones that we're going to focus on, obviously the infrared sauna, which is what we use here at Performance. But what are the other types of saunas? So we have a traditional sauna, steam sauna. The main difference between infrared sauna and these other saunas is ambient temperature, so the temperature of the air inside the room. And let me explain why that's important. So studies have shown that infrared sauna helps detoxify the body, treat chronic health problems such as high blood pressure, congestive heart failure. It even shows to help reduce symptoms of dementia, Alzheimer's disease, headaches, type 2 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis. There's a study published in the Journal of American Medical Association that shows regular use of a sauna imparts a similar boost on the cardiovascular system as running. As you relax in the gentle infrared heat, your body's hard at work producing sweat, pumping blood, burning calories. That increase in blood circulation carries off that metabolic waste and delivers oxygen-rich blood to those depleted muscles, so they end up recovering faster. So why is this important? Well, in order to achieve all of these benefits, the research shows us that you need to be in the sauna a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes, with really that optimal time is 30, even up to 45 minutes. So because the infrared sauna uses infrared waves to heat the body from the inside out, we can keep the ambient, that air temperature, we can keep that lower in between about 115 and 150 degrees. That's 150 degrees, allowing you to stay in longer and reap all of those benefits. All right, so before we move on, we're actually going to introduce our first guest today, who uses a sauna pretty regularly and is going to join us to talk a little bit about her experience. Welcome, Erin.
Hello.
Well, this is Erin Gilday. She is one of the tennis pros here at New Canaan Racket Club. So, Erin, tell us a little bit about how you came about using infrared sauna, when the first time, and why you wanted to try it initially.
It was actually referred to me by other athletes. I was in Florida at the time, training and working at a facility similar to this that a lot of professional and young student athletes trained at. And I saw them using it pretty consistently and just heard them talking about the benefits that they thought they got from consistent use, and had the opportunity to try it.
And if it's good enough for a professional athlete,
Yes.
It's probably good enough for us, right?
That's what I thought.
So give me a little background about your sort of what you've had with your medical history and how that played into why you were using the infrared sauna.
I actually have a very extensive medical history. At the time, I was commuting back up here as a patient at Sloan Kettering in New York City, and coming off a very severely broken leg and ankle, bunch of surgeries, back surgeries, things like that, and was trying to find alternative methods to help with pain, fatigue, recovery, other than medications and things like that. And as I mentioned, some of my friends who were athletes said it did wonders for them. They had had a lot of injuries and things like that through sports and football. And I started using it and instantly felt benefits from it.
Very, very cool. So tell me tell the audience a little bit about what you felt sort of before maybe using the infrared, and then what really changed when you started using it on a regular basis.
I would say I would leave, especially if I was active or working out or just in general, a lot of fatigue. It'd take a lot longer than I was used to recover. from things, whether I was being active, or I was playing tennis, teaching, or even just a bad night's sleep. I was just sore all the time. I felt a lack of energy and immediately noticed instantly. I would spend time in the sauna. Mentally, it was very relaxing. It would give me a chance to kind of just decompress, not think so much about how I was feeling, relax, and actually felt a lot more energized right after coming out of it. Even things like my skin improved. I felt better during my workouts, and I also was able to do more because of the benefits it gave me with the recovery and being able to turn around quicker.
Very cool. How often do you think would be optimal for you? Like, how often were you using it? And then maybe I know you actually use the infrared sauna for a long time. What were your temperature? If you remember kind of the temperature you were using it at?
I would go pretty high. I would go up to, I think, about 145. And I was in there. I like I said, I also enjoyed my time in there. It was peaceful, and it was a nice just break during the day. But I would go.
No kids bothering you.
No one bothering me, and it was nice because they never got uncomfortable. I was able to really relax. I would read a book if I wanted. I would just listen to music even. And I would try to go for at least 30 minutes, but even hopping in there for 15, 20 minutes, I would notice a difference. So it was really as often as I was able to use it and have access to it, I tried to get in there.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. Well, thank you for joining us. I know it wasn't long,
No, that's okay.
but thank you for joining us and kind of sharing a little bit about your medical history and sort of why infrared sauna has helped you. So we really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so before we bring in our next guest, I'd like to show you all our sauna, like the actual sauna that we use, so you can vision a little bit about what we're talking about. So our sauna here at Performance is made from Canadian hemlock wood fir, which is a non-allergenic, non-toxic, has no aroma. The wood is important because we want to make sure that it doesn't warp, it doesn't splinter, and that it absorbs some of that heat. So when you lean against it, it doesn't harm a client. It doesn't harm a patient. It is a far infrared sauna versus a near infrared and versus a mid infrared. So typically when we have clients that come in, they're using it between 30 and 45 minutes. And it's, as you can see, it's very much a single person use, which is perfect for privacy. But it's also nice because it keeps you from having to get anywhere close to a crowded area or having multiple people in a sauna, which I know is so important in today's climate. So how does it work? So we know that infrared sauna uses invisible light rays. Well, what are these light rays? Well, the sun produces a combination of visible and invisible light. That invisible light rays are the infrared rays that we use. That's what makes the sun feel warm, while visible light rays or UV rays are what makes the sun bright. These infrared waves are easily absorbed, and they stimulate the lymphatic system, the immune system, and the cardiovascular system. And that's what can help vibrate those water molecules in the cells of the body to release those toxins. Infrared does all of this without any of the harmful rays of sunlight. So as your body absorbs this infrared heat, this will increase your core body temperature, inducing an artificial fever of sorts, and then we create that deep, relaxing sweat. Okay, so we do have another special guest joining us today, talking a little bit about his experience. Tom Ayub is a physician by trade, but is also quite active, uses the sauna himself. Tom, thanks for joining us.
Zach, is a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
You're a golfer. You're a tennis player.
Right.
You're quite active.
Yes.
On top of seeing your own patients.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about why you use sauna. What draws you to wanting to use sauna in your daily life?
Well, I tell you, as I look at it as a timeout. It gives me a little time to meditate, and the 30 minutes of 45 minutes that I could go and sit down and relax, take a deep breath, and let my muscles kind of heat up. I know I was going to say chill. Heat up to allow them to kind of relax. And I've always found it fascinating. If you look back on the old days, 2,000, 3,000 years ago with the Romans, they used to love the Roman baths. They go into the baths and heat up and cleanse. So I've looked at this as a heat up and a cleansing situation.
Wow. Well, thank you for the history lesson there,
Yes.
too.
You're welcome.
So how often are you using sauna, and what are you feeling when you get out of a sauna that makes you keep coming back?
Well, Zach, I would like to use it as often as possible, but unfortunately with our busy schedules, we don't have the time. So I would tell you that using it a couple times a week is certainly advantageous. Like I said, it's a meditation time, it's a timeout. It allows me, as you explained, when I have a little ADD, so my sitting in and resting and going through that timeout makes everything a little bit better. You have time to think, you can play music, and the one thing that you were mentioning before in this COVID environment with our masks on, you could take your masks off and be alone in your sauna.
Yes.
It gets cleansed properly after you use it, so it's certainly one of the activities that's pretty safe in this environment.
Oh, absolutely. And you can see with our single person use, that's
Yeah.
what you can do.
Perfect.
So like I mentioned earlier, you're quite an athlete yourself, right?
I try.
So you're
I'm becoming a better golfer because of you.
Yeah, all right. Well, hey, I like to hear that. So you're active. What changes have you seen maybe on the court, maybe on the golf course, maybe in the weight room?
Well, Zach, I think you're absolutely right. I think if you look at total modalities, and I think you directed in the beginning, how to recover. In the old days, I used to do 5 days of tennis in a row, and by my 5th day, I was getting better. Nowadays, at 66, if I do 5 days of tennis in a row, my tennis gets worse. So you have to kind of figure out how to recover, how to optimize your levels. And what you guys have done here, and we're trying to do here, is allow people to have different modalities so that they could feel active, feel healthier, by not doing necessarily the same activity day in and day out.
I totally agree with you. Recovery is just so important to just helping you get back to doing the things that you want to do every day.
Or let you keep doing them. I had a wonderful discussion with one of my patients today. As we get older, if you increase your activity, the same activity every day, it's increasing the probability that you're not going to be able to continue to do those activities. So running 5 miles every day as you age isn't going to be something you can do. So you have to alternate, you have to figure out how to recover so that you could do those activities as long as you really like.
So playing off of that, is there anything that you've noticed using the sauna? Has there anything you've noticed you've been able to do more of or continue to do because you've been able to sit in that sauna, allow that body to relax, help heal those muscles from the soreness, and keep doing whatever your daily life
In truth,
entails?
it's allowed me to continue to do what I'm doing,
Yeah.
which is what we're after. Getting better is kind of figuring out alternative things. I think this is one of the modalities that helps that body heal a little quicker. It helps my muscles because, as it gets colder around here, I warm up quicker with this. I think it's a wonderful modality after working out to go in and chill. The nice thing is it doesn't dehydrate you as much, and it's not as hot as some other saunas would be, so you get the impact without feeling too hot.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I think that's a big take home for a lot of our audience is that when you use an infrared sauna, you can keep it at such a lower temperature.
Right.
Because the way your body heats is from the infrared waves, not from an ambient temperature of the sauna. So we don't have to put it at 200 plus degrees.
Correct.
We can keep it at a lower temperature, and that's what's going to heat that body.
So in other words, it's not an extreme. You don't go in there much like some of the activities that you would do and actually find your body hurting after you were done.
Right.
It actually makes you feel better when you're done.
So before I let you go, Tom, is there anything that you maybe could shed some light on? Anything negative? Anything bad about using the sauna? Any side effects that you may see from using the sauna?
The good news is I went on the Mayo Clinic website before you asked me to come on, as somebody that likes to check data out. And the website will basically say, there is no harm to this if you use it in a correct manner. I wouldn't sit there for 2 hours at a time. You know, if you think about it, I remember going back to the days where you used to watch boxers try to fit into their weight. They would go into the sauna, lose as much weight as they can with perspiration, and then go step on the scale, and they could barely walk off those scales to go back. So that's not what this is about. This is moderation. If you use any activity in moderation, it's going to be a positive for you.
Well, Tom, thank you for taking the time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you coming in.
And we appreciate you having this modality here and using it properly and keeping it in the shape it needs to be so that people could stay healthy.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Everyone, Tom Ayub, thank you for joining us. All right, so before we close, our chat is still open for a quick Q&A. If you have questions, please submit them now and we'll try to answer them. So I think we already have some questions. Go ahead with the first question. A minimum of 15 to 20 minutes has been shown to really reap the most benefit, but that 30 minutes is kind of that optimal number for staying in that sauna. Yeah, so all of our appointments are booked for 45 minutes, which leaves 15 minutes till the top of the hour for us to allow the sauna to air out. We clean it, wipe everything down, refresh all the towels, the robes, everything you see in here is wiped down. And we allow that 15 minutes to clear the air and clear the sauna before we let anybody go into their next appointment. So some of the research actually shows us that that when you get out of the sauna, that when you're using the sauna and when you get out, you actually have an increase in neutrophil and white blood cell counts in the blood. Those are responsible for fighting infection, fighting anything that's foreign, which it would include a virus, include bacteria. So when we're boosting those counts with the sauna, we're actually boosting our immune system. Yeah, that's a great question as well. So blood pressure, we're going to try to simplify it as much as we can. If we think about our blood vessels, where the blood travels through, we try to think of like a garden hose. So if I turn on my garden hose and I have a certain width in that garden hose, there's going to be an amount of pressure that comes through there. If I dilate that garden hose and I expand the walls of that pressure is going to go down. Well, that's kind of what we're doing when we get in the sauna. When we use this heat mechanism, we're actually dilating those blood vessels. We're going to decrease the pressure in the vessels. We're going to ultimately decrease the workload of the heart. So we recommend 2 to 3 times per week is sort of that optimal time. There's really no evidence to show that you can't use it every day. But really on a regular regimen, 2 to 3 days per week is probably that optimal time to get all those benefits. Thanks, Dosh, for the question. Yeah, so near infrared waves are short and far infrared waves are longer. Why is that important? Well, the near infrared waves, because they're shorter, they don't really penetrate the skin all that well. Where the far infrared waves are longer waves that penetrate the skin 3, 4, sometimes even 5 inches below the tissue. And that's actually what helps induce that sweat and kind of helps release some of those toxins. Yeah, so the quality of wood is important because we want it to absorb some of the heat. We want to prevent overheating in the sauna itself. That's important because we don't want it to warp, we don't want it to break or splinter. That could obviously cause harm to the client, but cause harm to the sauna itself. So that's why we use that Canadian hemlock fir. Yeah, so you can definitely use it before or after. A lot of times we have clients who come in right after, so they've already generated that sweat, they've already worked out, they come in, they relax, they sit there, and they can even sweat even more. But you can certainly use it before or after a workout. Yes, so we do have showers right here in our facility, which you have access to as soon as you finish your sauna session. And I would encourage you to shower because the toxins that you just released, so everything you just sweated out, they're going to be sitting on the surface of your skin. So rinsing that skin is going to be actually quite important. Good? Got all of our questions? All right, so thanks everybody for joining us today. Because you watched this webinar, we are encouraging you to try our infrared sauna. You can contact our staff by dialing 203-920-1777. That's 203-920-1777. Or you can just send an email. That's appointments@performance-pt.com. That's appointments@performance-pt.com. And that's how you can contact us to schedule an appointment. Even if you have other questions, you may not be local or be near one of our offices or have access to our infrared sauna, but we encourage you to find something that can benefit you and help you recover. If that's all, I think it's it. So again, my name is Zack Buechner. This is Performance. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.